Welcome to the Astrologin origin, an origin created by Memphis in the Origin's Discord server. This is a 3-impact origin that is based upon a descendant of an unknown stellar being that venture to the planet Earth. So this origin is for versions 1.17.1, it might work on 1.16, but then some things may also break at the same time, so always be aware of that thing. Always just play it in the most recent version, unless I've specifically said that you shouldn't do that in, so yeah, keep in mind that one. There's also a resource pack that you might want to download in order to actually get the proper resource bars. I forgot to do that originally, so most of this video is a bit cucked because of that reason, but hey, that's just how it goes some days, and that's just what I gotta deal with. Either way, let's get into the actual abilities, and let's roll. First off, we start off with the 𝓼𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼 ability. You can shoot a beam of cosmic energy that will harm foes on impact. But hey, if you're on your own special moon beam, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and make sure to definitely smash that like button. Okay, let's continue on. Just for a quick FYI before we get into this, I couldn't actually get the actual resource bar that you also can use with this to actually function correctly, so a lot of the visual effects may be missing entirely. Like, I don't know if it's just the actual bar itself that shows the cooldown of your abilities as a part of the actual resource pack, or if there's something more to it, but basically with this ability here, it's linked to your primary ability key, and it's also linked to your cosmic energy, which is for some reason right at the end of the origin list. But basically, cosmic energy, you gain cosmic energy when you're out in the night sky, but you must be in the night sky, and that is when you can use this ability. You'll start the charge up. It has a total of 7 charges. It's total it can have at when you get it to max abilities, and pretty much you can spam it to do damage to mobs, but there's no actual visual bar or anything along those lines. I don't know why that's the case. I don't know if that was the intended part of this actual origin, or whether that's just because the resource pack is not functioning correctly either. I'm not 100% sure what would be the reason behind it, because I can't exactly, like, I don't know. I can't exactly give an answer to that because I don't know what the hell's happening here. It's just as basic as, you know, the ability does a bit of damage to whatever mob you look at when you're pressing the ability. You have no idea if it's going to hit the actual mob or not. You don't know. Like, it's a very weird thing, and I have no idea what in the world to describe about it. It doesn't do a damage. It doesn't do a massive amount of damage. It's kind of one of those things where it takes like 5 shots to kill a normal zombie. It could be better. It could be worse. It's just an all around, yeah, it's a kind of cool thing. Again, as I said, I can't be 100% sure if the missing visual is actually purposeful or whether that's just because the resource pack isn't actually working for me, so that's the best I can really do in this situation, I guess. Moving into your next ability, you've got Glowing Star. Underneath the night sky, your body glows in unison with the stars in space. Basically speaking, when you're outside at night time, you have the glowing effect on you at all times. There is literally nothing more to it. You just have the glowing effect to you. This is mostly a disadvantage in most situations because it makes it much easier for other players to spot your existence. Other mobs, I don't think it really changes how they act. I haven't actually seen any differences in how the AI behaves when it comes down to people like that, when you're just like, God, I don't know what you'd call it, when you've got the situation of you just got the glowing thing around you. I haven't seen the AI function differently with that, but I can definitely contest to the fact that other players can see you a lot easier, and they will chase you down, they will hunt you down, they will murder you. It is in their nature to do so, you know, it's just gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. You just gotta accept it, you know? Moving into your next ability, you've got Enhanced Sight. You can see the starry night clearly as if you had night vision, but the thing is, you don't have night vision. The way this starter pack goes around doing that is, instead of giving you night vision or any form of potion effect quite like it, instead it kind of maxes out your gamma at like a point where, like most of the YouTubers do for video reasons, where they put it at like 1,000+ gamma, so it's like all the time it's always going to look normal regardless of how much light is actually in the area or not, but it looks perfectly fine. You're not going to exactly notice how much difference it is, considering the fact that your entire view gets grayed out as well, but that's a bit we'll probably talk about in a moment. Moving into your next ability, you got Hellophobia. Due to being afraid of the sun, you get sore and weak when the sun is in the sky. Now, this only actually affects you when you're actively out in the sun itself. When you're underneath a tree, you won't get affected by this. When you're on the ground, you won't get affected by this. This will only actually give you the effects of weakness and slowness when you're actually out in the physical sun itself, and no other time frame will actually do that to you. Moving into your next ability, you got Starfire. You absorb cosmic energy. You can make entities catch on fire. Basically, this relates back to the cosmic energy thing, which is an ability that activates when you're out in the night sky at night time. Basically, any of your physical attacks will actually cause the enemies to set on fire. This doesn't actually function with your primary ability, so your laser, your moonbeam, which doesn't have any form of visual effect, it will only apply normal damage. It won't actually apply the Starfire damage on top of that. But if you hit them with a physical attack with your bare hands or a sword or any form of weapon, it will will give them some fire attack at the same time, which is pretty useful. That can definitely be helpful, especially when getting food in the early game when you don't have any form of easy way to cook massive amounts of like meat and stuff along those lines. It makes it just so that that's immediately cooked food for you and save you the time and coal when it comes down to that, because a lot of people have flame swords for that reason solely at some points. Moving into your next ability, you're a magic user. You mainly use magical attacks, so you haven't really had any experience when it comes to taking physical damage. I just want to point out the fact that they misspelled hasn't. There's an E missing from that word. I'm sorry, I feel bad for pointing that out, because now you're never going to unsee that little bit of an issue there. But this just pretty much means that you take a little bit of extra damage when it comes down to taking physical damage. I'm pretty sure this pretty much just means all forms of damage you take extra damage from, except for spells. I think, like, I'm pretty sure that's how it roughly is it going here. So instant damage, poisons, wither effects, those things still take damage at the regular rate you normally would, unless there's an ability later on telling you that you no longer take damage from those things. But any form of physical attacks such as swords, axes, tools, bare hands, bows, crossbows, fireworks, things along those lines, you'll take more damage than usual from those items and things along those lines. Moving to your next ability, you got Exhausting Being. You require a lot of energies to keep going, so you eat faster. 𝓵𝓷𝓷𝓴𝓼, you know this ability by now. You just consume your hunger a little bit faster than normal. Of course, the rate varies depending on the origins, but I think this one's like, it's on one of the lower end of the how quickly it changes, how quickly your hunger goes down. It's not too drastic of a change. It's not going to be one you're going to worry about too much. It's just going to be a thing like, oh, okay, I'm just going to have to eat a little bit more often kind of deal. Moving into your next ability, you've got Eyes of Another World. Your eyes are evolved a different way from humans' colors, so everything looks a bit more dead. Basically, your entire world becomes grayscaled. But let me tell you a little bit of a trick with this. If you press the F4 button, if you go Alt F4, okay, jokes aside, if you actually press the F4 button, for some weird reason it deactivates the color. I found out this on accident because my cinematic camera toggle is toggled to F4. So every time I would turn on my cinematic camera, it would automatically activate or remove the decolorization feature of the origin entirely, which was very weird, and I wasn't 100% sure why it does that. I thought maybe it's key to the cinematic camera, but then when I changed game modes by going F3 and F4 at the same time, it also got rid of the grayscale visualization, which I don't know if that was purposeful or not. I don't know what's the point of that. So if you don't like the grayscale and you want color in your Minecraft game, there is F4 there you can use to actually get rid of it. Don't do Alt F4, do just F4, so you can actually avoid the grayscaling if you don't like it at all. So I'm pretty glad that if that was intentional from the creator, I'm pretty glad you've done something like that, because I do know a lot of people that just hate that type of thing. If that was unintentional, leave it where it is. I would personally leave it in, kind of thing. Moving into your next ability, you have the Feather Weight ability. You fall as gently to the ground as a feather would unless you sneak. Basically, the basic rundown of this, you have the slow falling ability on you at all times, but you can temporarily deactivate it when you're holding down your sneak button, which again, everyone knows that's binded to your shift button. Basically, most people call sneak shifting type thing, but it is your shift button unless you've changed the key of your sneak. But whenever you press your sneak button, it will actually deactivate the slow fall and you'll fall quicker to the ground, but you don't take any fall damage on the side of that, so I guess it's really helpful in that nature. But again, basically, you have slow falling at all times unless you decide to say, no, I don't want it. Moving into your next ability, you've got Language Barrier. Communicating with villagers is hard due to the fact that you can't understand them. This makes trading difficult. The short and simple of this is it basically just means that your gossip levels with villagers is already on a bad side, meaning that your prices with them are automatically higher than normal, but your gossip levels aren't to the point where iron golems are going to attack you immediately. You still have to kill a villager and do other bits and pieces for them to start doing that, but it just means that by default your trades with a villager are going to be slightly more expensive, but you can still downgrade them down to a point with zombies and stuff along those lines, because it's still built in with the normal mechanics of a villager. It isn't like the villager's trade is straight up disabled for you, it's just slightly more expensive to begin with. Moving into your next ability, you've got Odd Gravity. Gravity behaves odd when it comes to you. You can jump very high, you just have jump boost 2 on at all times. Again, as it is with a lot of the other abilities in this origin, it actually isn't giving you the effects. The only time where you're actually giving physical status effects on your character is when you get the weakness and slowness throughout the day and the glowing and speed throughout the night. That is the only time where you actually have physical effects on your Minecraft player. That means you can't add any more higher level, any more that level type thing. But when it comes comes to the jump boost, you can branch jump up to a maximum of 4 blocks if you have a jump boost potion for yourself, as this ability doesn't actually give you the jump boost as a proper status effect, it's just implemented into your actual physical character stats. You can just jump up 2 blocks by default, no quirks towards that. Moving into your next ability, you've got Cosmic Energy. When in the night sky, you gain Cosmic Energy. Again, this is roughly the same as I mentioned earlier with the Cosmic Energy. This is basically what is required when it comes down to using your primary ability, and when you have Cosmic Energy, it also allows you to set mobs on fire via your physical attacks. But that's basically all there is to it. So let me know your thoughts as always in the comments down below, and until next time guys, goodbye.